There is a grave in Los Angeles. Simple, quiet, almost forgotten, and buried with the man inside it are secrets that most of his followers will spend their entire lives searching for and never find. His name was Neville Goddard, and before you think you know who he was, you don't. Not yet. You know the quotes. You know the affirmations. You know the techniques that fill YouTube videos and self-help books with his name on the cover. But there is another Neville, the one who spoke in hushed tones at the end of lectures when the recorders were almost out of tape, the one who looked at his closest students and said, "What I am about to tell you, I should not tell you," and then told them anyway. Tonight, those words reach you. 7 secrets. 7 things Neville deliberately kept from the public. 7 truths so radical, so completely opposite to everything the world teaches, that most minds will reject them before they even finish listening. Stay with me, because what is buried is about to be unearthed. Secret 1. You are not who you think you are. The first secret Neville hid was about identity, not the identity you perform for the world, not your name, not your job, not your history, your real identity. Neville taught publicly that imagination creates reality, but what he whispered privately was far more dangerous. He said, "You are not a person who has imagination. You are imagination itself, wearing the costume of a person." Read that slowly. You are not a human being using a tool called imagination. You are the imagination, the infinite creative consciousness of the universe, compressed into flesh and bone, pretending to be limited. Pretending. That word is everything, because if you are pretending to be limited, then limitation is not real. It is a role you are playing, and like any actor, you can step out of the role. The moment you accept this, not as a nice idea, but as your actual identity, everything changes. You stop asking imagination to work for you, because you realize you are it. Secret 2. The grave was never empty. This is the secret most people cannot accept, and it is the one Neville considered the most important of everything he ever taught. He said, and these words appeared only once, in a private 1969 recording made just 3 years before his death. The past is not gone. The past is not dead. Every moment that has ever existed still exists. Right now, simultaneously. He was not speaking poetically. He was not using metaphor. He was describing the actual nature of time. Neville believed, based on his own mystical experiences, that time is not a river moving in one direction. Time is an ocean. Every moment, every conversation, every decision, every version of you that has ever existed is still alive. Right now, in a dimension you cannot see, but can access through imagination. This is why he taught revision with such intensity. When you go back in imagination and rewrite a painful memory, you are not just healing yourself psychologically, you are reaching into the ocean of time and changing what actually happened. In some dimension of reality, the argument never occurred, the rejection never came, the loss never happened, and a changed past sends a different future rippling forward, into this moment, into your life, right now. Secret 3. The real meaning of I am. Everyone who has studied Neville has heard him speak about the words, I am. Most people understand this as a spiritual concept, a way of affirming positive states. I am wealthy, I am loved, I am healed. But Neville's private teaching about I am was something far darker, far more powerful, far more terrifying. He said, Every time you complete the sentence I am, you are speaking the name of God. And God has no choice but to confirm whatever you say next. No choice. Think about what that means. Every time you say, I am tired, God confirms it. Every time you say, I am unlucky, God confirms it. Every time you say, I am not good enough, the most powerful creative force in the universe bows its head and says, so it shall be. You have been speaking curses over yourself with the name of God every single day without knowing it. This is why Neville was almost violent in his insistence that people guard what follows I am. He said the two most powerful words in any language are not please or thank you. They are I am. And you have been completing that sentence carelessly for your entire life. Secret 4. The thing that happens at 3 a.m. This secret Neville rarely spoke about in public. It appeared only in fragments, in late-night lectures, in private letters, in conversations his students recorded without his knowledge. He called it the thinning. He said that between the hours of 3 a.m. and 4 a.m., something happens to the barrier between the physical world and the world of imagination. It thins. The wall between what is seen and what is unseen becomes almost transparent. He said, if you wake at 3 a.m. and cannot sleep, do not reach for your phone. Do not turn on a light. Lie still, because in that hour, what you imagine is closer to becoming real than at any other moment in the 24-hour cycle. Modern science, unknowingly, has begun to confirm pieces of this. Research on theta brain waves shows that the brain enters its most receptive and creative state in the early morning hours. In this state, the subconscious is not just open, it is hungry, it is reaching outward, looking for instruction, and whatever you feed it in that hour goes deeper than anything you can plant during the day. Neville said that many of history's greatest inventions, greatest revelations, greatest shifts in human consciousness came to people who were awake at 3 a.m., not by accident, by invitation. The universe was whispering, and they were quiet enough to hear. Secret 5. The curse of the answered prayer. This is the secret Neville said made him hesitate before teaching manifestation at all. He called it the curse of the answered prayer, and it is darker than anything most spiritual teachers will ever admit. He said, be careful what state you manifest from, because the universe does not only deliver what you asked for, it delivers everything attached to the state you were in when you asked. Everything attached. If you manifested from fear, you got the thing, and the fear came with it. If you manifested from desperation, you got the result, wrapped in more desperation. If you attracted a person while believing deep down you were unworthy, you got the person, and you brought your unworthiness into the relationship, and the relationship confirmed it. This is why so many people manifest what they want, and still feel empty, still feel wrong, still feel like something is missing, because they changed the outside without changing the inside, and the inside infected everything. Neville said the only safe place to manifest from is wholeness. Not need, not lack, not desperation. Wholeness. The state of someone who already has, who is adding to abundance, not trying to escape poverty. That is the state where answered prayers arrive clean, without the curse attached. Secret 6. What Neville saw before he died. In the final years of his life, Neville Goddard stopped teaching manifestation almost entirely. His students were confused. His audiences grew smaller. Letters came asking, "Why have you changed?" And Neville would reply with something that made people deeply uncomfortable. He said, I have seen what is on the other side of getting everything you want, and it is not what you think. Not what you think. He had spent decades teaching people to use imagination to attract love, money, success, health. And it worked. He had proof. Thousands of letters from people whose lives had transformed. And yet, in his final years, he began teaching something different. He began teaching that the entire physical world, every person, every circumstance, every desire, was a dream. Not a metaphor, a literal dream. And he said, the moment you wake up inside the dream, you realize that chasing things within it is like trying to catch smoke with your hands. He had woken up, and what he saw was that the dreamer was infinitely more vast, more powerful, more real than anything inside the dream. He stopped chasing, not because he gave up, because he realized he was already everything he had ever been looking for. Secret 7. The message he left for you, specifically. This is the final secret, the one Neville hid deepest, the one that, if you truly hear it tonight, will change the way you wake up tomorrow morning. In his very last public lecture, recorded in 1972, just weeks before his death, Neville said something that the audience did not fully understand. He said, I am not speaking to the room. I am speaking to whoever needs to hear this, whenever they hear it. Time does not bind these words. They will find the right ears, at the right moment, in ways I cannot predict. He knew. Somehow, he knew that his words would travel beyond that room, beyond that year, beyond that decade, and reach someone exactly like you. At exactly the moment you needed them most. You did not find this audio by accident. The version of you that is ready to hear this called it in. Neville said the final hidden truth was this. You have never been lost. You have never been broken. You have never been abandoned by the universe. You simply forgot, for a little while, who you were. And everything that happened while you forgot was not punishment. It was the dream giving you contrast, so that when you remembered, the remembering would feel like coming home. Coming home, that is what this is. Not learning, not acquiring, not becoming, returning to what you already are, to what you never stopped being, even in the darkest moments, even in the silence, even at 3 a.m. when the world felt too heavy to carry. You were never lost. You were always the one doing the dreaming. There is a grave in Los Angeles, and the man inside it lived a life most people cannot comprehend. He walked away from fame, from money, from comfort, because he had seen something that made all of it feel small. He spent his life trying to give that vision to anyone willing to receive it. 7 secrets. 7 truths he buried beneath the surface teachings, waiting for the right moment to be found. You have found them tonight. Yours. He hid this on purpose. Now, it is yours on purpose.